Good afternoon, everybody. We're down here in Portland, Oregon yet. We are in recess for lunch and get you guys a quick update on what's going on down here. We have another busy day here. Quite a few people have showed up today. It's rainy out, so not so many of us standing outside, but we do have a few supporters out here in front of the jail and the courthouse. And give everybody a moment to get on here, and we'll kind of go over this morning's happenings and what went on in court. How you doing there, Mary and Shelley? See a few names popping up on here. It's been raining down here this morning as normal in Portland. I see Jennifer Applegate's on here, Steve and Maria, Dave. We started out in court this morning with a lot of motions being heard. The prosecution is put a lot of effort into trying to stop some of the witnesses that were wanting to testify. And if you realize, so far we've only had as of this morning, we only had two witnesses. Ammon Bundy testified yesterday on the defense side, and then we had Chris Briles. He testified. This morning, the government was already using the word acclumative, saying that we already had too many witnesses, and some of these witnesses were just going to repeat other witnesses, and we didn't need them. That's two witnesses we only had, and the prosecutors were trying to hush a lot of the other witnesses and make it mute so they couldn't be heard. But the judge did rule in our favor today, and she allowed these witnesses to continue. As the prosecutors were trying to put a stop to the other witnesses, the judge was also, in her own way, as she always does, started putting pressure on the defense team, saying, you're going to have some witnesses ready. I'm not going to make the jurors wait. She did this in the last trial. She did it again in this trial here, and but at least she has allowed almost every single one of our witnesses so far, and so that was a big move in our direction of bringing out justice here. So we know that Ryan Payne is sitting at the jail, waiting to be transferred in to possibly witness right after lunch. There's a lot of arguments there. Hello, Joshua. How you doing, brother? They're having some arguments here over the lunch break on whether to allow him and what they're going to talk to him about. The defense team wants to have him up just shortly, and the prosecutors have some objections on some of the things that Ryan Payne may talk about. What's always interesting in this case to me is that the government prosecuted these people. The government has all these exhibits and all this evidence that's against them, pages and pages and pages of evidence, and they're trying to keep their own exhibits and own evidence out of this case. Why did they go to all the work to have all this evidence and exhibits filed as evidence in court, but they won't allow it to be heard? It's just absurd to me that they try to hide so much of their own exhibits and own evidence from the jurors to listen to. We found out through different testimonies over there in Nevada and here that the FBI has had fake Facebook accounts, people posing as patriots or supposedly media, that has infiltrated Facebook, even infiltrated the news media, trying to gather information on individuals throughout the community. And that's some things that have come out the last few days. Looking at my notes here real quick, one of the things Neil Wampler mentioned today in court, just as we was observing from the back, is Judge Brown. She really micromanages, Neil Wampler said, the courtroom. She even came out into the courtroom where all the jurors are sitting instead of on the bench, started straightening out benches and stuff, trying to straighten up her courtroom to make it the way she wanted it to look from the bench. And that was a comment that Neil Wampler had made to me. He says, Judge Brown is sure a micromanager. She even is trying to rearrange the courtroom. So that was something I thought of interest. We hear a lot Rule 403, and the prosecutors started this in the last case, and I've never read Rule 403. I just always hear it interpreted by the government, and they always are saying that every time there's a witness, they're trying to express Rule 403, saying this is a cumulative. We've heard enough of this. We don't need to hear it 2 and 3 times. One witness is good enough. The defense doesn't need another witness to back up the last witness. The government has brought in close to 40 witnesses, mostly of those federal employees of some kind, whether they're FBI, Fish and Wildlife, BLM, state troopers, and all they did is confer what others said. Over 40. We had 2 witnesses up until this morning. 2. And it was already a cumulative, and we was already calling too many witnesses, and the government was trying to shut it down. At least Judge Brown overruled that, and she allowed us to continue. So now, before lunch, the defense was well organized. They had 9 witnesses they called, and we heard 9 witnesses up until lunch. Some good witnesses. We heard the last one was on the stand just before we took a break was John Witzel. Hoping I'm pronouncing his last name right, but he's from French Glen, Oregon. He stated that the refuge and its workers, Fish and Wildlife, were not good neighbors. They were undesirable neighbors, and that was one of his testimonies. The government, before he came up on the stand, was trying to keep Mr. Witzel from testifying about testifying about him being arrested for trespassing, and they actually served Mr. Witzel with a trespass ticket after the fact, after he had been trespassing on supposed Fish and Wildlife property, and the government didn't want that heard. And so the defense made a deal with the prosecution that this wouldn't be brought up if the government didn't bring up something. So in the arguments, the defense kept it out like they promised, and then they turned it over to cross-examination from the government, and the government, the first thing they did is they said the things that they promised the judge they wouldn't say. They started asking him about him being a good neighbor, asking him his past and if he had been arrested before, and that's the point that the government had already objected to and did not want even brought up, and they brought it up themselves. So they re-cross-examined him after the government did, and Dwayne Emmer's attorney, she says, want to ask you a question, Mr. Witzel. Was you served with a trespass charge, and when were you how was you served with that trespass charge? He said, I was just served, they came out to my home and just gave it to me after the fact, after days later. The government jumps up and objects and says, so they promised us they wouldn't bring that up. And the judge says, well, you're the one that brought it up, not the defense. You guys made the deal beforehand. And the government, the prosecutors, Mr. Barrows, was obviously upset. And that's what we've seen the last 2 days. They have showed a lot of anger, even the judge herself, being irritated very quickly, jumping up and trying to stop different testimonies and interrupting. And even the prosecutors themselves, they said, we would like it, that we wouldn't have to object so much if the defense would stay in line. And they have been staying in line. They've had really good questions. They've had good testimonies that were very important for these jurors to listen to. And at one point, the prosecutors asked the judge to clear the room of the prosecutors because they were so upset today, and then brought them back in. And that was during Ken Medenbach's testimony. Ken Medenbach got up there, and he was talking about adverse possession, how many years that he's been involved in this, and how he felt that this over 21 years, and how he had been fighting this for a long time. In 1996, he'd spent 60 days in jail practicing adverse possession over 640 acres. Again here, over this case, over 6 months in jail. And that got to be brought up on the stand. They cleared the room when Ken Medenbach was testifying because he was getting too in-depth with the truth and what was going on with adverse possession. And they did not want the jurors to continue to hear this. So the judge reprimanded Ken and asked him if he could keep his mouth shut, don't tell the truth. And he says, here's what his statement was. He says, I thought, Your Honor, I was to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, but you're not letting me. She said, you want your whole testimony stricken from this, Mr. Medenbach, or can you follow the directions of this court? So Mr. Medenbach says, I'll go ahead and follow your directions. But that's what they're saying. The truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and the government has been trying to cover it up with their own exhibits and their own evidence, not even allowing the things that they have presented to the court as evidence and to the jurors. So it's pretty absurd, but it's really great to be a part of this and watching it. And I know that the people like the jurors that are sitting up there, they're seeing through these things. And that's why I believe we're definitely going to get another not guilty verdict, because you can't have corrupt government. You can't have government that is terrorizing the people, hiding the truth, to continue like this. The people are tired of this kind of stuff. And it's time that it stops, and it's going to stop with these jurors are going to see that. We're being told that this case is wrapping up really quick. We think that the defense is going to wrap up about Tuesday of next week. Probably have closing arguments on Wednesday. Possibly turn this over to the jurors as early as Thursday. If so, the judge is going to keep the jurors on Friday of this next week. Not this coming Friday, but the next Friday here. Keep the jurors, and we may have an answer to this case as early as next Friday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's wrapping up real quick, and we do have quite a few more witnesses this afternoon. The next one that's on schedule right after lunch here is Ryan Payne, and I know that a few of them on Monday that's coming in is such as Roxanne Ryan and her husband, Mr. Ryan, for Jake, their son. We've also got some law enforcement that's coming over from his county to testify on Jake Ryan's on his behalf. We've got a guy named Gary David. He's been in law enforcement for 31 years, and he's going to be testifying on Dwayne Emmer's behalf. So we've got quite a few witnesses yet, a lot more different and new witnesses than we had last trial on the defense team, and it's really looking good in the courtroom. Everybody's spirits are up there. We are really seeing a good outcome of this. So I'm going to turn this around here and show you our big sign, one of them we have out here. We haven't got them all up yet, but we got this one up this morning. This is one of them. It's 5'5" tall, 20 foot long. Please release our ranchers and cowboys. We got the EPA with a big circle around it, a line. And the far side over here, we've got no BLM with the BLM logo. And it's really putting a statement out here. It's 20 foot long. Here, Brian, go over and stand next to it so we can see how short Brian is. So you can see how tall this thing is. It's standing right to the top of Brian's head. Brian was supposed to testify today, and they decided to go ahead and allow his testimony from the previous trial to be omitted. That was one testimony they were trying to take out of the evidence for the jurors this time, and Brian was going to retestify. Well, the government decided that they did not want Brian to testify, and they decided to go ahead and allow his prior testimony. You want to talk a little about that, Brian, now, since you're not a witness this time?
Well, I guess because I'm so handsome, they didn't want to see me back on the stand. I just don't think they really wanted me back on the stand. I think I'm a very credible witness, and they just didn't want to see my face up there anymore. So, you know, it's kind of flattering, actually. It was upsetting at first. It took a long time for me to be talked out of it. There was actually a defense attorney, a court-appointed attorney, and one of the defendants. They took me aside and told me that they preferred that I wouldn't, because my previous testimony is all they need, is powerful enough. And there's one little other thing that came out that by my court-appointed attorney, perjury, because the second time I tested in October, I was asked if I had been on any media or talked to media, and I said no. I didn't realize that also meant social media. And so this question of perjury is going to pop up, and it possibly could discredit me on the stand. So they felt this better. They had everything they needed, and they didn't need any more. And so I was a little upset with it at first, but you know, I think it is the right thing to do.
So did the government or the prosecutors admit now that social media is real media? Because they're admitting that it's media now.
What a point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got some real media, on social media that is reporting when this fake media hasn't been really telling the truth. So
social media is real media. It's not fake media.
They was going to try to get you purging yourself by saying you wasn't on the media when you was on social media.
Well, the rub on the whole thing is we had all these major news outlets were out front, and I thought that's what they were referring to, because I had not spoken to them. I had not been interviewed and given any statements that had anything to do with what was going on in the court. So that's what I thought they were referring to. But evidently, social media is just as poignant and just as impressive as regular media.
Well, thanks a lot, Bran.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go over here and put Ken Medenbach on the spot.
You said it so well for him.
We were just talking about you there, Ken, talking about your testimony and how Judge Brown, she didn't want to hear you twice. But I noticed when you got on the stand, she says, "Hello there, Mr. Medenbach."
Yeah, we've been kind of not been getting along very well ever. And, so I don't know if she was too happy to see me up there, because, you know, I've got things I can say and I'm willing to go to jail for them if I have to. Today she wanted me to stop bringing up adverse possession, yet we've got U.S. versus Otley, where the Ninth Circuit Court has said that, hey, it's a viable way to take land from the federal government. So I'm sure she didn't want me to bring that up, and so I just, I finally said, hey, when the jury left and we had to argue with the prosecutor, I said, hey, look, I just took an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And then she made some more comments, and I made some more comments, and then I've been fine. I was able to say as much as I could, and hopefully this jury will do the same as the last jury, and hopefully these question marks they're putting in front of them that the prosecution and the judge aren't allowing into the court, yet once the juror hears it, it's embedded in their mind, and they know that it's a controversy. But of course, at the very end, she asked me, Prosecutor Knight asked me, "Mr. Medenbach, are you going to let the employees come back to work?" "Sure, come on back, no problem." So we'll see. Hopefully, this will. The defendants in this case will be found not guilty, just like we did in the first trial, and the whole thing keeps moving on down to Nevada, and everybody gets found not guilty, and then we can change this country and turn it around and make it into a great country.
That makes it a worthwhile fight, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, thanks a lot, Ken.
Okay.
So that was Ken there, Medenbach, and we gonna hopefully have Ryan Payne on the stand here shortly, and we've got to be back in the courtroom. So we'll have you another update here this evening. The way things are going, it's kind of iffy if we stay till 4:30 or 5. But at the very next break that we have a good update, I'll get it to you. And like I said again, this is almost over with here. We are expecting this case to be wrapped up and over with probably by as early as next Thursday or Friday, and have the jurors deliberating. And I don't expect it's going to take that long. This is a much easier case from this side on, so we're excited to get to the end of it, and we will be seeing you here a little bit later this evening, closer to 5 o'clock. Thank you guys, and
Good
God
afternoon,
bless.
everyone. Just want to let you know I arrived safe and sound out here in Portland. Actually, I'm going to turn this around just so you can have a view here. So yeah, it's rather quiet right now. I guess they just gone back into for this afternoon for more of the hearing, and I'm just hanging out, waiting for my day, which will be sometime tomorrow. So yeah, I'm hearing that things are going pretty well, especially after Ammon gave his testimony. So we'll see how it all plays out. So I'm just blessed and fortunate to be back out here again to do my part, you know, and to testify as to the truth, you know, from what I observed. And hopefully we will have the same verdict of not guilty, because that's what really needs to happen, folks. This whole country is totally out of whack. You know, you have these I used to call them code enforcers. Now I'm going to take a page out of Mark Passio's page, out of his book, and basically call them as they are, and they are order followers. I highly recommend checking out his video with regards to natural law. He covers an awful lot there, and basically that's what we're up against. You know, there are people who follow orders. You know, they have no brain. They don't know the difference between right and wrong themselves, and they choose to have the government or people within the government tell them everything. So, and granted, we all have issues. I certainly have mine. You know, I've got some things I'll be dealing with regards to my situation, with regards to a federal lawsuit and also a local claim out in Boise, Idaho. But here today, I'm out here in support of the guys that are still locked up here, wrongfully, as I will say. And yeah, just biding my time, and I guess I will have my day. Anyway, I'm going to hang out so I can catch up with some of my friends here, you know, when this whole session's over today. And you guys have a very blessed day, and yeah, we'll back at you later, okay? I know John will definitely be giving you guys an update. You know, John's the man. Look forward to speaking with him. Okay, you guys take care. Talk to you again soon. Bye. Okay, I said I'd be back, and so here I am. And a few folks have come out. Looks like we're putting up some signs. I think my friend John just posted up a photo of us. You know, what an awesome guy. You know, he's doing some great work. So let me show you some of the signs that are going up. Okay, you got let's do a retake. I just turned it around. There we go. So as you can see, some very important information going up. You know, we need to really adhere to that. And this jury nullification, that is key, regardless of what the courts say. The jury needs to know that they can judge the facts and the law, knowing what's right and wrong. You know, they need to stop following orders. You know, these order followers are the ones that are causing the problem, right? So we really need to stop following orders. We all have an inherent ability to know what's right and wrong. And so that's what we need to be following. It's a great sign, isn't it? So a little more activity down here. Oh, wow. Now that's a sign. Wow. Very nice, you guys. How's that? Okay, get the message, you guys. It's up to us, the people. Wow, that is good.
We gotta figure out this. Probably no place really.
They won't do it today. We don't have to put it up with.
Yes. We'll go get.
It's all about educating. We have to educate. We've all been indoctrinated for so long.
No victim, no crime.
That's right. It's time to stop. You know, that whole thing too, John. You know, no victim, no crime. That is actually, when you think about it, it's a statutory scheme.
Yes, yeah.
That's what they do.
Yep.
They charge you with statutes, and it's a scheme.
Yep.
I've even had attorneys say that.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, no victim, no crime.
We'll have that one up tomorrow.
We're
gonna have it hanging up here.
Really? Oh man, yeah, that's that's nice. Way to go.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real victim.
Yep.
And the criminals are still out and about.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, no names. We don't even know the names of the people who shot him.
Really? They still.
For a year, they won't let us know. We don't know who it is.
You know what? That's how in the world. You know, I hope more people really wake up to what's really truly going on.
Yeah.
You know, they murdered Lavoy.
They are witnesses in this case to get these guys off. The government is hiding witnesses from us.
Jeez.
Hiding witnesses from the defense.
Now, tell me that's not criminal, right?
Criminal.
There's a real criminal.
Yeah.
You know, and then they murdered Jack Yontis as well.
Yep.
You know, they just think they can just murder
Family
people.
man, a rancher.
Yeah.
In his own place, right in front of his own place with his own cow there.
Yeah. Yeah. Sick and twisted what these guys are doing.
How's it going? How you doing? Good to see you.
Pretty good. What's up, buddy? I seen that court TV, huh?
Yeah.
Where you been?
Yep, all of our political prisoners need to be home. Hey, Tal, great to see you. Tim, Darren, thanks for tuning in. More signs. We gotta see. Let's see what we got over here for this sign. Hi. Pardon? Am I? Hey, absolutely. I'm here because I was out here. Well, actually, I was out at the reserve too, myself. Yeah, I know what the deal is. See. So the fact of the matter, it's a lie what they've done. You know. So what do you need? You got more signs? Sure. All right, let me give it to this. I don't know about making one. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Hey Mary, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Okay, I'm gonna go help with some signs here. You guys have a blessed evening. Talk to you later.
You get a reputation.
Much love. Bye. Okay, I know this is like the third one today, you know, but I have to do this because that's the only way I can really get all of these great signs in here. And it's Sarah, right? Sarah made these signs? Yeah. You got to see these, okay? It's amazing. So, there we go. Camera's off of me. Got to show you guys these signs. Look at this. Isn't that some great work? So people do what they can, you know. We can all do a little something, right? Using your talents to help educate people and inform people. You know, that's what we're supposed to be doing. You know, because there's some people who just do not know the difference between right and wrong. It's so basic. They'd rather follow orders and do stupid things like violate people's rights. You know, make it difficult for them in court with their statutory schemes. You know, where there is no victim. You know, it's ridiculous what they do. So, you can see Sarah there. She's getting ready to put some more signs out. Great signs. So, just sharing another little brief moment here. Hey Judy, Lori, thanks for tuning in. Out here again, doing my what I can. So, hey, well, just yeah, no, I'm not.
Well, I want to pray over the word God with gold, so I'll just do it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm out. You guys have a blessed day. Don't smoke. Thank you. Oops. Last little bit here. Have a great evening, you guys. Back at you sometime tomorrow. Okay. Hey, Kirk. Did you know? Hey, yeah, you knew I was coming out here again. I got subpoenaed, so I'm out here. Gonna be in court tomorrow. Couldn't go inside today, so that's all right. I don't want to give me any excuse to not have me in there, so I'm just hanging around outside. Got a chance to catch up with some friends that I hadn't seen for a while. So yeah, it's great being back, being able to say something, and hopefully convince this jury that they need to free the rest of the political prisoners. So yeah. All right, later. Okay, it's me again, and it's because I have to. You guys got to see this, okay? Let me turn. Good, bro. I just signed off, but I got to. Hey, let me turn this around. You got to. That is. I have not ever seen. That's quite the suit. That's kicking, bro.
I seen it on
wow.
on the computer earlier.
I like it. I like that. Okay, that's it. Just wanted to share that. Later. You guys have a blessed evening.
Well, good afternoon from Portland, Oregon. We're done with court early today. Give everybody a moment here to join on and show you our signs again. Here's one of our big signs behind me. Release our ranchers and cowboys. We've got quite a few more signs that we're going to have out here tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the last day of court for this week here in Portland. And things are progressing really quick this afternoon. We ended up not having Ryan Payne testify today, and he might not even testify. We're not 100% sure. So that's going to be determined more tomorrow. And also about Pete Santilli. They are planning on calling Pete Santilli to testify on Monday, but that's still a possibility, but they are definitely, that's in the works. We're going to have, looks like Chris Ann Hall testify on Monday. Michelle Fiore is going to testify on Monday. We're going to have Dan Ryan from Plains, Montana, looks like testify Monday. Trying to think of a few others. Terry Linnell maybe testifying on Monday. So we got some great people going to be showing up here to give a final day of testimonies on Monday. So again, we got Michelle Fiore, Chris Ann Hall, Dan Ryan, possibly Pete Santilli, and Terry Linnell. Them are some of the witnesses I know that are possibly going to be testifying on Monday. We were going to have Ryan Payne testify today, but some court procedures and things they're still arguing about and trying to work it out. And so far, Ryan Payne has not took the stand. We know he's here in the jail next to us, and been waiting in a holding cell waiting, but so far he has not. It sounds like also, I forgot another name, Barbara Berg is supposed to testify, and I know there's a whole list of others that we're trying to discuss and have for testimonies on tomorrow and Monday both. Arthur Lee Rice is here. He's going to testify tomorrow from Idaho. So we've got a big, exciting day tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it. The day turned out awesome up there. We had a lot of new evidence come out that the defense was trying to bring out, so it was a great day. I'll come back to some of this court stuff shortly. I'm going to turn the camera around here, show you a few people we have down here supporting us, and show you our mascot for today also. We've got what's her name?
Lassie.
Lassie. So we have Lassie out here today.
Sit.
There you go.
Justice for Lamar. Sit. Right?
That's Sarah Seal's dog Lassie. So, does she speak?
Give me some meat.
So here's some of my favorite guys from last summer.
Yes, you may.
Hello.
Hey John, what's up?
How you doing, Bob?
All right.
Good to have you down here tonight.
For a short period of time.
Yes. So we've got Mark Finch from Plains, Montana.
How you doing, John?
Doing good. We've got David, Shauna Cox.
Hi, guys.
Doing a surprise here.
What?
We've got Tequila.
Hey, all these American flags. Well, come on. Stop beating me with them.
Sycamore Shoals Park where they show
We had Arthur Lee Rice down here. I think he just left a little bit ago. We'll come back around and show you our sign again.
I have no idea.
So here's one of our newest big signs we have out here. We'll have another big one tomorrow. And we got a few more down here. So we've got quite a few signs. We'll have a great big jury nullification sign out here tomorrow. But this one here, the EPA, no EPA, that's for Joe Robertson, and the no BLM. And to make sure we know what we're talking about with the BLM, U.S. Department of Interior, Bureau of Land Management. So I won't have very much of a live stream, just another real important fact here that happened today. We had a total of 4 witnesses that were subpoenaed that did not show up, that have not been heard from. And three of these subpoenas that were issued of a no-show for the witnesses for the defense, 2 of these have been confirmed that they're informants, and they did not answer the subpoena. They have not showed up to court. So I know that 3 of these witnesses, one of them is John Kilman and Will Coleman. So John Kilman and Will Coleman, those 2 have been talked about being informants. They did not show up. There have been arrest warrants issued for these 3 of these individuals, and 2 of them are known informants. So I do not know the names of the other 2 right now that they've also issued warrants for of a no-show, but for sure 2 of those names came out in court this afternoon of witnesses that did not show up, and warrants have been issued for those 4 individuals, and 2 of them as again John Kilman, Flavio Menaggio, if I'm pronouncing his name right, and Will Coleman. Those 2 have definitely have had warrants issued for their arrest, And so we'll see if we get them two in court tomorrow or Monday. The defendants have a lot of questions for these informants. They were very active at the refuge, and we know John Kilman, for one, for the main reason there. It has been brought up over and over again in this court this time that he was the one who was in charge of the shooting range, of teaching people how to shoot guns, trying to take vehicles, multiple things that he was doing at the gun range. And Ammon Bundy confirmed this again on the stand when they was testifying, and he asked, the prosecutor asked if he was aware that Jason Patrick or Ryan Payne was the one that was in charge of the gun range. And Ammon said, no, Mr. Knight, that was your guy. That was your informant that was actually in charge of the gun range. He said that was brought up in the first trial. So that was interesting that the jurors got to listen to that. That was great. So we have a packed couple of days. It looks like this court's going to be over with possibly on Monday or Tuesday with all the witnesses. We'll have closing arguments possibly on Tuesday and maybe on Wednesday. And they're talking about even Wednesday or even Thursday turning this over to the jurors here in Portland. So this is really wrapping up quick. The judge says if that's the case, she's going to keep the jurors next Friday in deliberation, and we could have an answer in this case as soon as next Friday. So I am getting low on battery here, so I'm going to shut it down for tonight, and I will be back tomorrow about noon. Thank you guys, and God bless.